Hey,
Hello, mate.
how we
How are you
doing?
doing? I'm good, mate. You?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
Have you been at work?
Train in the morning, and then work and then train again. So
Yeah,
it's a non-stop kind of thing.
I can imagine, mate. I've seen you've been working hard in the gym on Instagram. You
Ah,
you train at the same gym as Lyndon, don't you?
yeah, yeah. Me, Lyndon, Niall, and George train at the same gym.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good. It must be motivating having people like that around, who's been on the top stage and got the European belt. It must be good to look up to someone like that in the gym.
it is because it gives you kind of like a not a realistic perspective because everybody's different. Everybody's going to achieve different things, but
Yeah,
it's like a first-hand experience of what it takes to kind of, achieve those things, to go through it. I mean, Lyndon's contest for the European title was obviously contested over 12 rounds. It was a tough
yeah,
one. He had to get off the canvas and be
yeah.
his opponent. So, seeing how he prepared for that, makes the way and stuff like that, it's things you can take away. But more importantly, we spar each other. We
Yeah.
spar all the time. So it's just great first-hand experience as well.
Was you sparring him in the lead up to the heist?
Do you know what we found out about the heist? Like a last minute thing, really. We were a late replacement, wasn't we? So,
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't really have the 10, 12 week camp that everybody else got. But we always train and spar and we're always fit and ready to go. So it's not really a problem. For me, obviously during the heist, it is what it is. It's fate, isn't it? It was how it's supposed to be, and I drew who I drew, which ultimately ended up being the two favorites back to back. And
yeah.
just beating them both took everything I had out of me. So in reality, I kind of sit here now and wish somebody, grabbed me by the shoulder and said, Riz, what are you doing? Like, pull out, like, you've had enough. But nobody
Yeah.
did, and it was left to me. So, as a fighter, I'm always going to fight, even if my legs are hanging off. And unfortunately, by that final, obviously, I wasn't myself. But if things go well now, we should be able to get right back into it. And, two fights from now, I could be having avenged that. Yeah,
Well, what was the overall experience of fighting on the heist like? Obviously, you've got a massive amateur background. You was in the
yeah,
Olympic squad, so you're quite accustomed to tournaments. But it's been a while since you've done that. You haven't
yeah.
done. Wait, have you done a tournament as a pro, or was somebody else on that tournament in the
No,
other
that was
tournament?
my first tournament as a
First
pro.
tournament as a pro.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was it like? Was it different nerves before the fight? Was the pressure different?
It is insane. People watching, I don't think they realize that it is literally one fight after the other, because I've had a lot of fans speak to me about it after, and the way that they thought it was that there was quite a long, lengthy period of time, even separate days almost for the
Yeah.
different fights. And it's like, no. Don't get me wrong, in the amateurs, I've done 5 fights in 5 days, which I don't think I would ever do again. The strain it has on your body is crazy, but 3 fights in one night, and we're talking like half an hour apart, is crazy. And you can't prepare for it because we did bits of sparring where I would spar, three threes with Lyndon, three threes with Niall Brown, and then three threes with George Colleen. So I would get the experience of having done three to try and replicate the tournament, but you can't replicate the adrenaline going up and down. You can't replicate getting a concussion and then fighting on and getting cuts and stuff like that. It's stuff that you cannot prepare for. And the way it actually went on the night, I fought one of the favorites in Stewart. He was 12-0 undefeated, and like I took him out in style, but I really had to work for it. It wasn't easy. I had to get the game plan perfectly right, get in there and execute it, and I did. And I just remember I didn't have an adrenaline boost on that one. It was part of the process. I kind of expected that outcome in a way. And I remember going back to the changing room, and I'm sitting there, and in my head, I knew I was fighting Taz Nadeem next. I had a very strong feeling he was going to come through his first fight, but I was really hopeful that his opponent would take him like 3 rounds or something, tire him out a little bit, make it easier for me. And I'm sat in the changing room, kind of keeping warm, keeping ready to go again. And uh, one of my coaches came and he was like, "Yeah, it's done. Taz won." I was like, "All right, sweet. How did it go?" He goes, "Oh, I sparked him out in the first round." I thought, "Oh, perfect. He's just going to be fresh for me, isn't he?" But then the fight was one of the best fights of 2025, and I won it. Which, to be honest with you, I think in my whole career, that was one of the only times I was genuinely happy when I won. Um, Even when I get like a flashy knockout or something, it's kind of, I don't know. I feel like with all the preparation and all the times you've played it over in your head, you're numb to it when it comes to it. But that time, I remember I was buzzing. Oh my god! It's just afterwards, when I had this massive spike of adrenaline. Ah,
Yeah.
when that adrenaline disappeared, oh boy, did I feel a
When
concussion? I had a split tongue. I had a cut on my head.
when you were stood there waiting for the decision, obviously Taz was a favourite on that tournament and he was signed by the promotion. Was there any
Yeah.
doubt in your mind that you'd get the nod?
Do you know? I think the fighters more or less always know who won. Um, so standing there, I was 100% certain I'd won. I knew I'd broke him as well, which was like an added element to it because I didn't just want to beat him. I wanted to know in my head that if it went any further, I would have stopped him. I think he was fatigued enough having, been 3 rounds with me that I would have stopped him. But I was very, very confident that I beat him. But you'd never know. You can win every round and then lose on a split decision. So,
That's the way
hence, if you
boxing
watch the
is.
decision, I was kind of like this, but I think it was just like a build up to the decision. And obviously, thankfully I got it. So, it worked out perfect in the end.
Like you said, you was a late replacement on the heist.
Yeah.
So how did it come about? Was you in preparation for something else, or
No,
was you
no,
just
no.
stay?
It
Are
just
you the type of fighter that stays ready?
it's like brushing your teeth in the morning. You just do it. You know what I mean? And I've competed now for, hold on, I'm 29, 18 years. So I had my first fight at 11, and then every single year since I've fought. So it's just who you are at the end of the day. And no, I wasn't preparing for anything, but I knew it could, a phone call could come in at any point in time. Are you fighting this Saturday? You're fighting next Saturday. So you kind of keep in there or thereabouts, but obviously you don't want to burn out either. So it's a little bit of a, of a delicate balance. But I think we got it right. It's just like I said. I kind of wish somebody took the decision out of my hands, if you know what I mean, after that second one, because beating two undefeated fighters in one night, back to back, and they were hard fighters as well. Just that's enough.
Yeah, arguably two of the top prospects in the country.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
beating them two, do you think you should be fighting for bigger bigger opportunities, better belts? Because last time we spoke, you sort of said that not the central area don't mean anything, but that it's not what drives you. So
No, it's
what belt would drive you? What opportunity would make you think, yeah, this is what I want?
I don't feel like belts are a drive the way I understand boxing, and it might be a different perspective to people like as just standard fan watching boxing and just enjoying the thrill of and the excitement of the fight. But because I've lived in it for so long, like let's say Opetaya, for example, the cruiserweight. This is just a complete and utter example that's just come to my mind. He
Yeah,
can have any belt in the world, or somebody else can have a belt. Now, those belts are meaningless because he's the number one. So, like Daniel Dubois at time walking about saying he's a world champion. Uh,
yeah,
Wardley now saying he's a world champion. Yeah, it's a great accolade. You're somewhere up there. You are maybe top five, but you're not a world champion. What does a world champion mean? You're the best in the world. Now, if there is a clear number one in the world, how can you call yourself a world champion? That's my point. So, the Central Area title was a great one to win first, and then, but you can't retire on that. Do you know what I mean? You can't be like, oh yeah, work is done, I can go away. You
Yeah.
can't.
No.
Even if I become English champion, European champion, I ain't done. It's not about the title, it's about being the best, and I know what my best is, and I haven't reached that yet. I may be shown glimpses of it in spectacular wins here and there, but I know there's so much more to come from me. So no matter what belt you put in front of me, until I am number one, or I am where I believe I peak, um then I'll be happy.
So you just mentioned Giant about the belts.
Yeah,
He's signed with ZUFFA now, which their
yeah.
aim is to completely get rid of the belts. So do you think that Dana White with ZUFFA has a better business idea for boxing than the promoters do right now with the different sanctions?
I don't think they know what they're doing, if I'm honest with you. And I've seen a lot on this because, on one hand, they're creating a Zuffa Bell, creating a complete different thing, and they're trying to replicate the MMA league. But on the other, they're saying they're going to give him unifications and make him undisputed.
Yeah,
So it's like, are you working with the governing bodies? Aren't you working? So it's like, I don't know is the answer really, but at the end of the day, it's good for boxing, because no matter who comes into the sport, whether it's Netflix, whether it's DAZN or anybody else, it's amazing for boxing. More eyes on the sport, so it can only be a good thing. And even the big promoters, the Eddie Earns, Frank Warrens, and obviously, like you've mentioned there, Dana White, if they can just compete against one another, it's better for us, better as fighters, better for the fans watching. It means the products are going to be driven up and up and up. So why not? Bring it on.
back to the heist just quickly.
Yep.
How do you think that card impacted your career going forward?
Um. Ah, I mean, it was a bittersweet experience for me, to be honest, as a person, because it was one of those weird moments in your career where if you were less brave, less courageous, it would have worked out better. Because, and I know that sounds kind of contradictory, but you don't get rewarded in boxing for being not always anyway. You don't get rewarded for being brave and fighting on. You'd think you would.
Yeah,
You'd think me fighting for the third time in that evening would have been a good thing, but in reality, how it works out, I would have been better off just saying, "That's enough for me. Go out on a high, fight Aussie on somewhere in the future, which I will get a chance to, if I come through Red Johnson." But I think it propelled my career because I think, in those first two performances, especially considering they were back to back as well against two very, very strong prospects, it just it shows you what I'm capable. It shows me what I'm capable of, because sometimes you start doubting yourself as well. Uh,
definitely put a lot of people on notice.
Yeah, and all my fans that were there said it was the best show they've ever been to, and the atmosphere. I nobody knew me. It's what I said beforehand. I'm happy being an unknown commodity, and kind of going in there, and nobody has a clue, because I guarantee you now, by the time that final came, and this is the truth, by the time the final came, everybody was chanting my name.
Hundred
Uh,
percent, mate. One hundred
so I
percent.
must have done something right.
Yeah, well, like I'm a fan of just entertaining fights in general. Like you, I'm not really too fussed if you're a world champion. Like Shakur Stevenson, I'll never
Yeah.
stay up late to watch his fights. He's not an entertaining
No.
fighter to me. He's a master of the science. Don't get me wrong, he's
He's
great, but
phenomenal, but yes, I get what you
I'd lo
mean.
I love to see the fights that you're in, the wars, especially the
Yeah,
one against Taz Nadeem. Like you said, the best fight of 2025, and it was 3 rounds.
yeah. Like the fight with Taz, truly believe if that was a 10 rounder, he would not touch me. He, as good as he is, as explosive as he is, I don't believe he would lay a glove on me. But in a 3 round format where you've only just fought as well, knowing that you're up against the favorite, the tournament favorite, the house favorite as well. I felt like I had to take it to him. I had to break him. I had to get to him. There was no, it's not like a 10 rounder where I can take the first 3 or 4 rounds, figuring things out, outboxing him, feinting, moving. I had to go to it and take it to him, and I did. And obviously, it's a double-edged sword because on one hand, you're putting pressure on your opponent, you're hitting him, you're winning, but you're also exposing yourself to getting hit. And that uppercut you caught me with, and that left hook, poof. Like I
Yeah, there
said,
was
he
some
split
heavy
my
shot
tongue,
landed in that fight. Jeez.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was
and
some
I'm not
heavy
exaggerating
shots
that, by the way. I'm not exaggerating that. My tongue was split in half.
from the
Uh,
uppercut.
yeah, I must have bit it,
Wow.
and it's split in half. I've got a little video thing, so I can show you later. But
Yeah, all
yeah,
right, send me it. Moving on now from the heist, we've got the defense against Red coming up. Have
yeah.
you seen much of Red?
So I don't like to watch my opponents too much. I have a tendency where I might overthink it, and I'll start visualizing it too much. Where in reality, none of what you're going to watch really matters, because on the night, what he's going to do with me is not what he's done with anybody else. So when I boxed Taz and I boxed Ellis Stewart, I didn't watch them. I watched maybe 20, 30 seconds just to get an idea of how tall he is, orthodox southpaw, how he moves, and that's it. Done. And then I'll let my team do the rest of the analyzing, watching game plan, and all that kind of stuff. And we're working on it. That's one thing I can say.
Um, well, that's a good way to be, I think, because if you're looking at things and overthinking, then you can just let your team focus on building a game plan, and your
Yeah.
full mindset can be just on following that game plan. No noise around it. So I
The
think that's
way
a good
I
way
see
to think.
it, sorry to I didn't mean to interrupt there, but
No,
the
no,
way
it's
I
fine.
see it, the way I see it, I'm quite versatile in terms of what I can do. And if I can make sure I'm 100%, then no matter who is in that ring with me, I'll be okay and I'll figure it out. Um, I'm not like one dimensional or anything like that. I can do a lot of things, but I have to be 100% of me, and that's my primary focus. It's nothing to do with him. I don't care. That could be Mike Tyson. That could be Taz Nadim. That could be anybody in that in that corner. As long as I'm good, I'm good.
The last fight was on the Zone. This one's going to be on Talk Sport.
Yep.
Is this it now? Is it big fights only for you? Big stages only?
Do you know what? Honestly, and I wish somebody educated me on what pro boxing really is, because I thought this would be from day one. I was ready in my head for big fights from day one, but obviously you have to build up your product, your fan base, everything else. I had no idea about any of that, but
It's
yeah,
a
bring it
bus
on,
It's a
anybody.
business as well, isn't it? So
Of course,
people
yes,
look at you and look at your record and think, "Do I fight him?" No, because if he knocks me out, that's going to affect my business.
yeah, yeah. But I think I've had various moments in my career where it's made me more attractive to my opponents. If you know, I mean, that probably makes no sense, but
Yeah,
I've had 2 draws with a lad called Bador Karami, where I don't think I lost a round in that. But it is what it is, you can't, it's one person, the referee, referee's decision, nobody else's, and called him a draw. So but if he hadn't, then immediately after, I fought in London against a hot prospect. I think he was called William Webber on a 1 week's notice thing. But like I said, we always stay ready. And it was a final English title eliminator, just like that. And I think if I'd won both of those fights, which I did in reality, but if they were on my record as wins, I don't think I would have got that opportunity.
yeah. So you
But
think that?
people look at it and they think, oh, it's a vulnerability, but they don't bother going on YouTube and actually having a look. And anybody watching this, go on YouTube and have a look. It's there to see. It's not just my opinion or anything like that. But at the end of the day, that's 2 draws there. There's a split decision loss when I actually fought for the English title, which is very controversial again. So people are looking at my record and they're thinking, oh, he's lost this, he's drew this. It'll be an easy target, because in boxing, for some reason, if you've had a draw or a loss, you're less of a fighter than you were yesterday.
Yeah.
Makes no sense. Man United can win and lose. They're on the fourth win in a row. Everybody's absolutely raving. Yeah, taking over. But it's boxing should be the same, but in reality, because nothing changes, it's just a win or a loss. You know less of a man because that happened. So I have that old school mentality. That's what I would love to bring back to boxing. But I feel like now I'm getting to a stage where I've finally built my product. I've developed myself. I've got the wins under my belt. And like you said, big fights. And I'm hoping I can just bring back old school boxing. Anybody who wants to smoke can get it. Left, right, center. Every week, I don't care. Honestly, I do not care. Robinson, for those people that don't know, was an absolute legend of boxing. The guy would fight a 15-round war. Let's say he lost a split decision to the number 2 in the world, would fight him again 2 weeks later. It's mind blowing. 15 rounds
Is
again, and he would win. I had 6 fights last year, and that's not enough. Bring it on.
so is avenging the loss to Ozzy more important to you than refighting for the English title, would you say?
Thing is, this fight against Red Johnson is an English final title eliminator.
Oh, really?
And Ozzy is fighting. I don't know his name. I can't remember off the top of my head. But he's a 6'4" southpaw. So they're fighting. We're fighting, and the winners will meet.
Wow.
So if
So,
if Ozzy wins the fight and I win against Red, we will meet for the English title anyway. Now, if I beat Red and he loses his next fight, then I beat Red and then win the English against the person that beat him. So I'm happy either way. But obviously,
yeah.
I'd like to avenge it. It would be the perfect scenario. And that's nothing personal. And I said this on the night. Well, not on the night, but the night before. The night after, sorry. I said the night belonged to James Osborne and his beautiful family. Whether the draw was even or wasn't, that's your opinions. You can, take that as you will.
You definitely had the toughest run out of anyone in the tournament.
But it doesn't matter. Ultimately, put that aside. He won. I didn't. Fair enough. But in reality, he fought a shadow of me. And if he fights me fresh, it'll be a totally different story. And that's what I believe in. I just hope I get a chance to prove it. That's all. So, obviously, I'm fully locked in and focused on Red Johnson or on myself being 100%, shall I say. And then, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. One step at a time. In boxing, you can't look too far. I'm just ready for the next step, then the next step, then the next step. And hopefully, I can just build a good career out of this.
Yeah. So my final question, mate, before I let you get off, is how do you see March 21st playing out?
It's hard. It's hard to know because if you look at my record, the last 7 opponents, I think, were like more or less undefeated prospects, and you never know what's going to come on the day, kind of thing. So Red Johnson's 10-0. It's a 10 rounder, so I'll be fit and ready, and my hand will be raised regardless, whether it goes 10 rounds or it ends in the first round the way I dismantled Dexter. It is what it is. In my head, I'm going 10 rounds, and it's going to be absolutely all out effort in terms of beating him. Now, what happens in between, we don't know. That's why you should tune in.
Well, I can't wait, mate, and I'll definitely be tuning in. I'll be there.
No, I
So
can't wait.
yeah, I look forward to getting to speak to you again. We'll probably meet up nearer the time before fight week, but if not, then I'll speak to you fight week. And thank you for jumping on, mate. Thank you.
No, anytime, anytime. It's better in person. So when I see you, I'll
Yeah.
give you a better interview. But